show how to compile a plugin really quickly. When you've made a new project, you've probably seen the option to create a C++ project. For every engine version that comes out, I always make a compiler for compiling plugins for myself. And this is how I made the OSC plugin for you, and I might as well show you how to do it. And it's really, really simple. All you do is just like we were doing with the OSC, I make a plugins folder, and then I could take Spout, open it up. There's the plugin root folder, so I just bring that in to my plugins folder. I put it in the content. It goes in the plugins folder. And then just by sheer fact that this is a C++ project, by opening up the project, it'll automatically compile it for me. That's it. That's all I have to do to compile plugins. If I say double click, it says, this plugin has been compiled by a different version. Would you like to rebuild it? Yes. If you want to look at all the wonderful text, it's right underneath there. Open it up, and you can watch it do its thing. While it's doing that, I will see if I already have it on my computer just to save like 2 seconds of time. No, I don't. So we'll just let it do its thing. Or I can remote into my desktop. My cooking show isn't well prepared today. Compiler, oh, I don't have a compiler for 421? So many problems. It's doing it. Compiler for, I don't have a compiler 421. What a shame. Alright. We'll do it here. So in the meantime, I'm going to open up Max, which is where we're going to be sending all the data to. And if you are, I'm going to show you where the package manager is. So again, Spout on Windows and Siphon on Macs. So I go over here to my Macs console. I can bring up the package manager. And for Windows, we're going to look for Spout. And we're going to install Spout. Right? So I already have installed, but where it says show to file browser, it would say install for you. So if you're Windows, you can go ahead and do that. If I go over to my Mac and open up the Macs, I would be looking for Siphon. And I was just looking at this morning, so there's like the help file for that. But again, I would be looking for Siphon. And I would install that on my Mac side. Cool. So now that I've compiled this project right here, we can see that underneath my plugins, I now have a thing called Spout. So I've just compiled my first plugin. At least with you guys. I've done it many times. I go back into our project that we're going to share. And now what this will do is we'll start giving warnings to people on Mac side because the plug won't be read correctly. That's just a warning. Don't worry about it. It's not going to break the project. So now I put this beside my OSC. Let me go ahead and close this project too. Mm-hmm. Spout. SPOUT for Windows. Syphon. SYPHON for Mac, and I put them both in the week 6 Slack channel. Cool. What was that? I don't know where you're at. What do you mean, which one? Oh, over here on Spout? So you go to download right here to get the sample project stuff and just get Spout right here. And this will basically give you a little testing piece of software and say, no thanks, I don't want to donate because I'm a student. And then it'll give you a folder. For me, it's saying I have a network error, so I don't know if that's going to happen to you guys too. Maybe it's going to happen this time. Cool. All right, so if I open up back up my project, I should now have the Spout plugin there. The on the Spout website. Oh, I'll send you that. I'll put that in the documents and demos. I'll give you the plugin for Unreal.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'll just do right now is I'll go ahead and zip that up.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So this is Spout for I'll put this up on my Dropbox and then I'll put it into the documents and demos folder. This is Spout for Windows 4.2.1. It's just now you know how to compile it for when you need for 4.2.2 and I'm not around. There you go. All right, so for Windows, it's in here. Under Documents and Demos. So now I have the plugin should be here. Great. I wonder if it has a sample project. Let me check real quick. Sometimes these plugins have sample things. You just need to go down to these view options and say, show me plugin content, which it is. And I can take a look at Spout content. Nope, it's not going to have a sample project, so I'll have to find that real quick. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. If I come back over here to the Spout plugin, he says this is a version of somebody else's. And this guy right here has an example project. Cool. And I'll put this up on this will be inside of our project. So I'm going to close. And then inside of our shared project, we've got under my content folder, I can put this right here. Great, and then we can use that as a template. once you install Spout and Siphon, they have a simple client and a simple server. Server means it's sending video frames, and then a client means it's receiving video frames. All right. If I come over to my example Spout that I just put in there, I can double click this project, and basically I have a Spout sender and I have a Spout receiver, right? I can send video frames or I can receive video frames. If I hit play, it's got some errors. I might have to resolve these. That's fine. I should be sending Spout now. Let me come over to what I just downloaded. Or I can go to my C program files. Nope. 86. Spout. If it, under the demo folder, I could say receiver. So say I'm not getting any texture, but I can also do a sender, and the sender will send to the receiver, right? So this is sending video frames, this is receiving video frames across my graphics card, right? So now what I want to do is I want to receive video frames from inside of my, from Unreal over to Spout. All right, so let me fix the compile errors real quick. We only want, let's see this over real quick. Spout sender, okay. So let's open up this blueprint for Spout receiver, or Spout sender. That's all we care about for right now. It has some errors, and I'll fix it, and I'll hand you out these as well. I'm just going to refresh this node. And this is not important because I'll fix it for you, give it to you. So there's the name. It's just to change the way it does things. Great, so all the compile errors are fixed. I am going to make some of these public variables. And there we go. So my sender now is called KK. I'm going to make sure he's on and ready to go. And I'm going to send it from right now it'll be my game viewport. It'll be what is coming out of this little frame right here. Alright, so if I hit play, and my sender needs to be, it doesn't really matter, I think it's just going to say KK. And turn it on. I could say, there we go. So I'm now getting frames from Unreal. You saw I could choose between multiple ones. Alright, so now I'm getting back from the Spout sender. So I can get all these textures, and what's cool about the plugin is that I can send a whole bunch of textures out. I make little scene capture cameras, and I can send just tons and tons and tons of textures out across my graphics card. It doesn't just have to be a flat surface. I could do like a cube map, and that's what I did for a dome projection, was sending out 5 textures, one for each of the walls and one for the ceiling. Cool. So if I go over into Max now, and I can open up the help file for Spout. So let's go over to my little package manager. Do Spout. I can show in file browser, which is going to give me a help file. And I have a receiver. And now this is Max. Max is also now getting Spout. I can just send video frames constantly all over the place. I can do something in Max, send it back to Unreal, put it on one of the boxes, and this is it really opens up the can of worms for us. So this has a bunch of content here. I'm going to simplify all this stuff for you guys and hand it out to you for Thursday. And essentially what we'll be doing is on Thursday we'll be starting to use modules in Max to start doing kaleidoscope effects and video feedback and all the other kind of really cool things we can do inside of Max. And then, of course, you can send your content back to Unreal, send it right back out. And this will kind of really give us a whole bunch of tool sets from VJ software. This also works for going to anything else, MadMapper, Malumen, all your projection mapping software. Now that we have the video textures on our graphics card and sending it across, it works for all of those. I'm going to hop over to Mac really quick, not to forget about Mac stuff. So Mac has Siphon, and unfortunately there's not an Unreal plugin for Siphon, but I'm going to show you a cool cheat. There's a software called CamTwist. Has anyone ever used this on a Mac? It's kind of like OBS. Right, it's for like screen recording, and it does a lot of effects. Right, it turns your Mac into a television studio. It's free. I'll put that in week 6. And then when you install CamTwist, you can open it up in a Mac. There it is. And so with CamTwist, if I go up to my preferences, I can click on Enable Siphon Server. So this is really cool. This puts your webcam on a Siphon server, but it does a lot of things to help you out on a Mac side, right? So I click that, and I say I'm using a custom size. I only want to do like something like 1280 by 720, just because I don't want to like overheat my laptop because I'm not there to turn it off. All right. So let me show you this little workflow. I'm going to bring in this thing called Desktop Plus. I'll double click it, and now you see that it's actually sending a Siphon server from my desktop. But what's cool about CamTwist is it lets me pick a specific application, and I only want it to be from Unreal. And now it's sending only Unreal. And then I can select my capture area. One second. And I wonder if I can't see it through the team viewer. One second. So essentially, once you're doing this on your Mac, you can just select the viewport, or you can go full screen on Unreal. So I hit play, and then hit F11. Turned airplane mode on. That's funny. Oh, there it goes. Come back to, now I'm getting full screen information on my Mac. That's going through Max. And this is just the Siphon help file. Cool? So now we're sending video frames on a Mac as well. Everything going crazy. Oh, there's my little window for resizing. That's how I resize the window inside of CamTwist. But once I say done selecting, it'll go away. Right? So that's really cool. If we go to Max again. All right, so Max, you do special effects. The fun thing about CamTwist is that it also does special effects. You can all these things are little fun things you can do. Make it look like the Matrix. Right? We're already kind of seeing what we can do in real time to mess around with this stuff. Let me turn them all off. Anyway, so that's the workaround for doing it on a Mac. Cool. Let me just make sure it's not running, and then I will say goodbye to Macworld. The advantage of being able to do this in Unreal on the Windows is that I don't have to do my viewport. I can also, as I said before, do a bunch of spout senders and do a bunch of different camera moves. So let's go through the process of setting up a spout in our map. So I'm going to go to, first of all, spout sender is the blueprint we're going to be using. Control B sends me there in my content browser. So this is our boy right here, spout sender. And the pipeline is we're going to use a camera that sends a texture to a spout sender. That's the workflow where there's 3 objects. It's an internal camera. That's called a scene capture. A scene capture is going to send it to a texture on my hard drive, and that texture is going to be then sent from spout. So let's go to our map and set that up, and it'll be good for today. So here is performance map. And this is the camera we're using for testing, but if I'm going to be doing it, sending it to Max, I can put in a different kind of camera, and that's called a Scene Capture 2D. It looks almost identical. And in fact, I can take the location of this one, and I can put it on the location of that one, and they could be in the same exact place. And just rotate it -90, and they're at exactly the same place. But a scene capture sends everything to a texture, to a target. We're going to say, give me a new render target, and I'll put this in my textures folder, and it's going to be called O1, because I might send out a whole bunch if I want to. Alright, so now it's sending it to O1. There's different kind of color things. I'm going to make it into final color, which will use post-processing. And that's all I have to do for this. Now I'm going to come over to the texture target, and here it is. This is it getting its texture. By default, the texture is pretty low, and I can like send it 1024 by 1024. But this is whatever you want it to be. If you want to send out HD, this is where you set up the resolution. Save that. And then just to kind of prove that this how this render target works, if I wanted to, I could turn this into a material, and then we would actually see this scene capture in the real world. All right, so I could put a. This is how you do like security camera footage or something. Take that, create a material, make it unlit. It's not receiving any shadows. Throw it on there. All right, so now we're seeing that this is a scene capture camera. So I do security camera footage. Right? So I'm going to throw in a spout sender. Doesn't matter. This is just a blueprint. It doesn't have to be anywhere. And then just from the settings here, I give it a name to find it. Right, I'm sending out O1. I'm going to make sure that it's on, and then it's called O1. And instead of sending it from my viewport, I want you to send it from the camera. And then we're all set and ready to go. So now this could be anywhere looking at anything inside my world. That's from the camera point of view. And I have my 2 buttons, remember, for my VJing. And it's being sent to the texture inside the world, but it's also being sent to O1. See, it says it knows what the resolution is, and now it's here. And as I do my stuff, it's over there without latency, and then in Max as well. As I choose O1, there it goes. So in Max, it's also. So what's cool about this workflow is that we're using Max as kind of like our show control, and it's sending OSC so we can make things happen in Unreal, but it's also then doing our projection mapping. And I'm going to simplify these patches and send it back out so that they're using more modern nodes inside of Unreal, in Max, and then they have corner pinning built into it, so it'll be really simple. So you know, obviously that's a whole other kind of workflow, but it's, if you haven't seen that kind of stuff, it's pretty cool. It really opens up everything. If you have any questions about this so far, please let me know. Obviously, you just have to kind of do it, but it's all screen recorded. You know, I'll be handing you the files that I've already made for you. But what this does kind of do is it kind of breaks our shared project. If you're on a Mac, you're now going to get some errors. When you open it up, it's fine. You can just ignore them and work on from there. Just turn off the spout plugin. But yeah, So that's it. I don't want to do anything else today because that'll be too much. So we'll break there. And if you guys have any questions about some of the work you did over the weekend, I'll stay around for a little while and help you out. All right. So I will stop recording.